Hello, everyone. Welcome to our winter Leading Well Network class, and we're going to be talking about time management. I'm hoping that everyone has found this link, and if you haven't, I will be sending it to you after. So, hoping to be able to share all this with you. Whether it is live or or not. I see that I have viewers that have joined, and I'm excited to be able to share with you. So again, this is the Leading Well Network course on time management and organizational skills. And I teach this as some of you know, professionally in corporations and with the programs that you are part of. So a little of this might be new, maybe review for you, but for others of you, this will be the first time you've heard me. I see the beginning of every year as an important time to back up, say, what do I want to accomplish this year and how effectively am I doing that? So it's a great time for us to come together and think about time management. I'm going to run you through some slides and give you some tips and techniques. So everyone, grab a pen and paper or open up a screen on your computer that you can use over the next 45 minutes, because I'm going to give you some exercises to do as well to support your organization. So again, welcome to the Leading Well Network. I'm glad you are part of this. I am hoping that each and every one of you can actually get connected to one another. You are doing great work in the world, and we all need help. I have now come to the point where I realize that leadership is simply, if you want to help, you're a leader, as you know. And if you're willing to learn and you're willing to ask for help, you can be a great leader. Those are the simple requirements that we need in order to make positive change in the world. So, welcome to time management. Now I'm going to be practicing here by sharing my screen. Let's see here. Application window. I go to, there we go, to time management. We're going to be talking about that today. So I want to go through what it should say, why does time management matter? And also what is time management? We're going to talk about planning, allocating, and achieving. It's a model that I like to use to think about how I keep myself organized and how we do time management skills. I'm going to give you some frameworks and tools to support you, and we're going to be thinking about how we get organized, what kind of personal commitments we want to make to ourselves through our exercises, and then you're going to have time for small group dialogue. If you are running into trouble during this next hour and a half, I'm going to have my phone here as well. Show you, now come back to me here. So I have my phone. So if you are running into trouble, most of you are connected to me on Facebook. You can message me on Facebook and we'll try to get you connected. Also, you have the email address of your moderator and the other people in your small group. So reach out to them. I hope you can use this as an opportunity to make some deep connections and help your work over the coming year and beyond. So just know that I will kind of periodically be looking down to see if any issues have come up. And also on the small group dialogues, facilitators, moderators, if you let me know, I can give me the link to your Skype, your Skype call or your Google Hangouts call. I can drop in, and I'd like to do that if possible. So if you can send that along to me over the next 45 minutes, I'll try to drop in and be able to say hello to each and every one of you, which gets me very excited. So back to the class. I'm going to go back and forth between these slides, and hopefully that works. So go back to screen share. I go back, and here we are. Okay, let's see. So why time management, which is what I wanted to say on the previous slide. Why time management? There's really, I would say, 5 main reasons. There has been research around why executives derail across cultures, and one of the key reasons is the failure to meet business objectives. If we aren't able to stay organized and be clear on our objectives, this can derail us. This can keep us from being successful. We also know that our emotions influence other people. So if you're stressed and overwhelmed, you're going to be creating stress in your team or in your family or in your community in some way. And we don't want to be doing that. So if we can get on top of our own time management strategies, we make the world a calmer place. And for those of you who are not in the United States right now, it's a little bit of a stressful place. And so part of the practice that I'm trying to hold is how do I bring myself back to center? And one of the ways that I'm doing it is trying to stay organized. So that's the plan anyway. You want to get things done for your personal success. I know with many of you, I've had the great opportunity of hearing about your visions, and they are incredibly exciting, and we want you to be able to accomplish them. So time management, organizational skills get us to these beautiful dreams that you have and that you're bringing forward. So it's another reason to do some of these practical and sometimes kind of boring things that I'm going to be sharing with you today. Okay, back to screen share. There we go. Okay, and a clear mind allows us to respond, allows response versus reaction, and we just want to enjoy our lives. There's some great work by a gentleman, David Allen. I assigned some of his work to you. He wrote a book called Getting Things Done, and he talks about this wish, when we're doing the ultimate goal of time management, is to get to a point where we can be responsive, makes us much better in response than being in reaction, and having space to enjoy our lives and to think creatively. So this, to be able to do time management, it's not only good for you, but it's it's good for your families and your communities. So passing those along. Oh, well, that didn't work. I am going to stop sharing. I wanted to read you a quote by Merlin Mann. Merlin Mann has worked with David Allen, and so I recommend looking at his work. I'm going to bring this up. Let's see. Let me try to share this quote with you. Let's see. All right. And I'm going to go back here. I love it. So Merlin Mann, I'll read this to you. He says, "Stuff is bouncing around in our heads and causing untold stress and anxiety. Evaluation meetings, bar mitzvahs, empty rolls of toilet paper, broken lawnmowers, a big gut, tooth decay." All of these are calling for attention in our poor addled brains. Stuff has no home and consequently no place to go, so it keeps rattling around. Worst off, we're too neurotic to stop thinking about it, and we certainly don't have time to actually do everything in one day. He says, "Geez, Louise, what the hell am I, Superman?" So this is Merlin Mann. So thinking about that, as we get organized, we make places for our stuff, not only on the outside, but also on the inside. So I'm able to be fully present with you and not thinking, oh, I need to make sure that I buy apples, and I need to do this and I need to do that. It's a way for us to get to show up in our lives. So continuing on. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about this strategy of plan, allocate, and achieve. And so this is a way to manage your stuff and your time. So is to think about these three things. How do I make sure that each week I'm doing planning, I'm clarifying my professional and personal goals, allocating, that I am making sure that I'm creating action items that allow my personal and professional goals to come into play, and then also using my calendar to allocate time, and then working to achieve them. So noticing how much time am I giving each week to planning, how much time am I giving each week to allocation, and making sure that things are allocated in my calendar, and how am I doing on achieving, and that these are all critical to the success. And why do we do, to kind of underline again, why do we do this, is this is a way that you can bring your values into action. That time management allows your life and your priorities to be in connection. So that it's, instead of time management, it's actually life management. When my kids were really young, a great piece of advice that I picked up actually from Stephen Covey's work was, and he wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is to think of the time with my children as sacred time and also as meetings. So, you think about your calendar and say, how do I want to allocate my day, and who is important to me, and what are what are my highest priorities, and what are the visions that what's the vision I have that I want to bring into the world, so that if someone asks you, can I meet you at 4:00, you have a meeting. And that meeting might be watching, I'm going to say football, because that's actually the international term for soccer, a football game that your daughter is playing in, or to do homework with your child, or to have tea with your partner. So thinking of time management as more life management, and getting that integration of our wishes into our life. So that's all the justification for this. And let's go ahead and think about how we want to set goals. So many of you have worked with me on goal setting. And I wanted to remind you that you want to make sure, as you are doing time management, that it's matching up to the life that you want to lead. So how do we, I'm going to go to this, go back to my charts here for you guys. Let's see. There we go. We'll make that, is to have a vision of the life in which you want to live, and to write that down. So that's exercise number 1. If you haven't done it with me before, I was meeting with a leader I very much respect yesterday, who started a huge NGO where he is creating essentially the American Serengeti. And he has a private folder on his computer. And he's just a very, very effective leader. And in that folder, he has his vision, and he has the key goals he's working on, and he has his values, And for those of you who have worked with me on your personal leadership plan, essentially he each week goes back to his personal leadership plan, and he uses that to continue to craft and assure that that is up to date and that it is matching his to-do list and his calendar. So notice that. How can you use, how can you have your vision, your mission, your short-term and long-term goals, your personal mission, and your values informing how you're living every week. So I give that to you as a tip, is to keep coming back to those on a weekly basis and have that private folder available for you. Back to the slides. So I've given you lots of justification for why we want to do all this. Now I want to give you some ideas on how. So let's go back there. I wish I had multiple screens for you, that this technology is what it is. So know that I'm apologizing for bopping back and forth, but here we go. Okay, so for those of you, many of you have heard from me before, we want to create goals from our vision that stick. And that these are what are going to drive us and send us forward each week. So goals that stick, that are SMART, that they are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if I wanted to tell you I want to take a vacation, and I asked you if it was SMART, I would hope you would say not so much. What I would ask that you would push me to figure out is, where am I going to go? Why am I going to go? How am I going to know if I'm done? That would be measurable. Is it something that I can do in my budget and within my vacation schedule? Does it match? Does this vacation match with my vision? Is it in line with what I want to achieve in my life? And is it time bound? So if I told you that part of my vision is to understand deeply all of the different religious traditions around the world, and I want to spend deep and spend good time and in deep conversation with my husband, you might suggest that I say I have a goal of a 2-week vacation, walking part of the Camino de Santiago and visiting churches in northern Spain by May of 2017. And so you notice that aligns with my vision. It is specific, it's measurable. It's 2 weeks, I can fit it in my vacation schedule. And it's something that I'm probably going to do because I've really aligned it to my values and to being able to achieve it. So second tip is to make sure that your goals are SMART and that you write them down. And that's why we do that when we're doing personal leadership planning. And I want to continue to push you there. So, step one, making sure that your vision, your mission, and your values are always available to you to support your time management. 2 is to get what are your key goals for this year written down and make sure that they are SMART. And to ask other people, is this goal SMART? How could I make it smarter? And check on that for me. You're going to, when you meet with your groups later this morning or this evening, I'm hoping that you will share one of your 2017 goals and ask your group how it could be smarter. That is a gift that we can give to one another as we go. So back to our PowerPoint. So here's what I want you to do. Everyone grab a pencil and paper, computer screen. I want you to write down for now, and you can come back to this and write more. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. I want you to write down all that you'd love to accomplish if you had time. And then you want to make those goals SMART. But for right now, let's just write down what goals you would love to accomplish if you had time this year. I gave you one of mine, right? Is to go back to the pilgrimage site. And then think about your team. What are goals that you would hope your team could achieve? And I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to do this along with you so that I know how this is going to work. And grabbing paper, just as I told you to do. So take advantage of this. This is a class for you. This is a class to get your life aligned with your vision and your purpose. And so writing down what would I love to achieve this year if I had time. And you can expand it to bigger goals as well. But so I'm hoping that you are all I don't know if you can hear me writing, but I'm writing away here. Okay. Another way to think of this is, do I have a goal for my physical self? Do I want to run a half marathon? Do I want to lose 10 pounds or 5 kilos? Do I want to, improve my heart health? So physical, emotional. There are ways that I want to interact with others. Things that are part of my vision, and then intellectual goals. One of my goals this year, I tell you, is I want to get to C1 proficiency level in Spanish, both written and verbal. So that's be an example of an intellectual goal. Expand this network is another, but that's not very SMART yet. So I need to make that more specific and measurable. And what would success look like to be able to support all of you, which is the underlying intention that's in my vision. So there we go. You can always come back to this video as well, but notice, what are the goals that are arising in you at this time? How can you make them SMART? This is the first step, is to write all of these down. Good, good. We're moving along. Time flies when I'm thinking of each of you, and I just want to share everything I can. So, okay, let's go on. So this is from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is the 4-quadrant model. Some of you have heard me speak of this, but I keep coming back to this even 20 years after learning it. So there are things in our lives that we do that are important and urgent. There are things in our lives that we do that are important but not urgent. There are things in our lives that show up that are really not important, but they're urgent. And then there's not important and not urgent. So if we were all together, I would ask you, what in your life right now is important and urgent? What belongs in that quadrant of your life? You might tell me to get your quarterly report completed for the first quarter of 20, of the end of 2016, right? That, oh, it's overdue and we need to get it done. Important and not urgent might be your quarterly report that's coming up in March. If we were able to interact with each other, you might tell me that that urgent and not important would be someone else's crisis. Your the friend that your roommate that always forgets their lunch, right? And, oh my gosh, you need to bring me my lunch, right? And that that continues to happen. And then not important and not urgent might be Facebook, watching, your favorite TV series, things that you really shouldn't be, spending a lot of time on. So the next piece of Okay, I'm back. So we don't just lose internet other places. We lose internet in the United States as well. So I just lost my internet and now it's back. So thank you for your patience. I'm back and I'm going to continue to talk. So vision to key goals, to thinking about how I'm spending my day, and using that 4-quadrant model. and again, I will send you all of these slides so that you have them as well. All right, back to teaching. Oh, I appreciate that some of you tell me that when it's cloudy, you don't have internet. It's a little cloudy here. Maybe that's what's going on. So 4-quadrant model, noticing how you're spending your day. I wanted to give you some tips on prioritizing your goals. Is to always have a personal goal, and to work on one at a time. I have found that Leo Babauta, his work, he has written a book called The Power of Less. I'm going to type that in and see if that can get to you. Power of Less. And we'll talk more about his work, is very helpful, is to say, okay, I've decided one of my personal goals would be to run a half marathon in September. And so that would be my personal goal, and to really focus on that goal, or learning Spanish at this particular level, is that if we have a personal goal that we're trying to achieve, that if we narrow in on it and give it focus and chip away at it each day, that is for human beings, a strong goal achievement strategy. So let's see, we'll go back to these slides, and there we go. And then what you should also look at is prioritize your goals. What are the top priority goals, and making sure that they're getting priority on your calendar and your daily schedule. And I also, for those of you who are part of teams, is to confirm and have conversation around what your goals are, what you think the team's goals are, and confirm that these indeed are the top priority. We want to move from crisis to response. This is the key work of time management. So step one, and we're going to do this together, is I want you to take a piece of paper, and I want you to think about, or on your computer, everything you need to get done right now. And this is a very stressful exercise, I understand, but I want you to think about everything you want to get done right now. So you might say, oh, I need to get the oil changed in my car. I need to go get my teeth checked. I'll give you some ideas. So right now, I just want you to start madly writing down everything you need to get done. And this is what I often do when I feel I'm in a place of crisis. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go on this trip, and oh, I need to get those slides done, and oh. So write it all down right now. This is the step one of this practice, of the crisis to response practice. So I could write that down as well. I'm just remembering I have a doctor's appointment I need to schedule. Need to pack for an upcoming trip. So just write and write. And you can come back to this exercise later. But okay, so you would do that. That would be step one. Then step two, go back here, is to think about, to making sure that you're getting everything on there, is to take all of your roles and think about what are all the roles that you play in the world. So I'm a parent, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm an employee, I'm also a volunteer. And so that's a way to think, do I have everything in one place, everything on my to-do list in one place? So getting everything written down. So write down everything that needs to get done, then making sure that you've gotten it all by looking at all your roles. Then next, you're going to assign due dates and priorities. Notice which quadrant these things are in. So is this a quadrant 1? Do I need to get it done right away? Is it quadrant 2 that it's important but not urgent, so I want to work on it a little bit each day? If it's quadrant 3, give it to somebody else. Or quadrant 4, just don't do it. You want to invest each day in quadrant 2. Because what we're trying to do is to move beyond quadrant 1 living. And it's a practice that maybe each Sunday or each Friday afternoon, that you look at this to-do list and make sure that it is up to date, and to look at your to-dos on a daily basis. And your calendar becomes your friend. So if I want to run a half marathon in September, I am going to put on my calendar the times that I need to be running. If I want to work on my relationships with my employees, I put visit times on my calendar. Okay. So what you're doing is, this is called the all-in-one place rule. This comes out of David Allen's work. You want to write down all of your projects, all of the actions, everything, and put them in one place. This way you're creating trust in your system, and you prioritize and you review them daily on what you need to get done, weekly to make sure everything's up to date, and monthly how it's aligning with your vision and your major goals. So this is huge. You want to get everything into one place. You can also, as part of David Allen's work again, is to look at where you can sort them by, is this for home or for work or for service? What role is this part of? What project is it part of? Where do I need to do it? Do I need to wait on? Is this something that I'm waiting on? Is something I'm doing an action? Is it something that I might do someday? And making these smart as well. And then another way to do this is to have a most important task list or hot list, and that you are reviewing that daily. You can sort things by project or even by sub-project. So how do you do that? Well, I used to keep a running Word document that I would do, but I want to pass along to you today that there are great online tools that you can use, and I have a list of those at the end. Again, I'll share my slides with you. I use a program called Todoist. Oh, and I can actually show you that, I'm realizing. Let me show you. Let me see if I can show you Todoist here. Let's see. Now I can show you my calendar. So I use Todoist. Oh, it's not going to let me show you that, I don't think. Let me try pulling that up and see if it, okay, let's see if it'll show up to show you. So Todoist, Todoist.com. Oh, and I'm also using everything is going on my calendar. We'll show you my calendar. So you'll notice that I have things set up by date. So you see by date, and then I color code things by where they belong in my life. Here we are in the class. But notice that today I have put on my calendar that I want to go skiing for a couple hours this afternoon before another conference call and a dinner engagement. So notice that this is a way I can put things, and you can also put things in by project as well. So the work is, how can you use tools to help you? Todoist is one. You have Google Reminder. No, Google. What's the one? You have I'll go back and look. I think it's Google Lists or Google To Do, and then you have with Apple, you have reminders. There's all kinds of online programs, and I'll give you a list of those. But the key is you're using these to support you. Your personal leadership plan, within it, your key goals, an action item list that is online and can be sorted by your roles, by your projects and sub-projects, by priority, and by what needs to happen. Your calendar supporting you and aligned with your to-do list. But this takes time each week, and it also takes time each day. Okay, going on, I wanted to show you as well, because we don't have too much more time, there's also noticing, where do you run into trouble? If you get overwhelmed, so this is the thing, some of us say, I'm terrible at time management, and you can tell I can teach this all day instead of just 45 minutes, but these are the 5 key places I notice where people get stuck. They get overwhelmed. They think, oh my gosh, there's just too much. I can't get it done. I want to teach you about the power of the next action. If you feel like there's too much to do in a day, is to prioritize to your most important tasks for that day. If you have stuff you need to get done that is boring and you don't want to do it, I'm going to teach you the reward and habit approach. And if it needs a block of uninterrupted time, the power of less. And if you're in crisis, see your calendar as your friend that tells you what to do at each moment. Okay, power of the next action. And you can learn more about this through David Allen's work. But you want to get to where, if something is overwhelming, if I say, I'm going to write a book, and you just go, oh my gosh, that is way too big. That's way too much. What you want to do is say, what could I do today on writing a book? It might be, what's something I could do? Oh, I could research writing books. Oh, that's still too overwhelming. How can I get down to something that I could do today that's very doable? And it might be, something as simple as type into Google tips for writing a book, or something that's very, very simple that I go, oh, I could do this. And then what you do is you chunk away at it bit by bit by bit. So what you're trying to do is make it so it's not overwhelming. So for example, writing a book, it might be, the first thing would be tips for writing a book. Or Deidre always tells me that the best way to write a book is to start by reading the book, The Shortest Distance Between You and a Published Book. Okay, today I'm going to buy that book or go get it at the library. Tomorrow I'm going to read 10 pages of the book. The next day, another 10 pages. And eventually it might be spend 15 minutes on writing down what I'd like to write about. So when you are in overwhelm, how can you get to one tiny thing that's going to make you feel better today? One tiny thing. And that's called the power of the next action. So I would recommend that. And again, I will send you these slides. All right. I'm going on to the next. Okay. Most important tasks. This is a fantastic tool to getting things done. When you are feeling like there's too much to get done, I'm going to show you what I put on, what I use. Sticky notes. And so is to think, what are the 3 most important things that I need to get done? And you write those out either the night before or first thing in the morning. And then you put those, take it off and put that on, on your computer or somewhere you're going to see it. And then I say, make it so that these are the things that you do first. When we're early in our day, we have more energy. and we're more able to do things that we might not want to do. And so you can do it where, okay, I have to get one of these done or all three of these done before I can have a cup of coffee. But you might not be able to do anything until you have your cup of coffee. But is to have that, and that each day one of your priorities is to do the most important tasks. They call them MITs. So that's another tip to making sure that you get things done. Okay, I gotta go back. I'll give you the next. To be able to do those, I like to use the reward or habit approach. If something is boring and I don't want to do it, another trick is to make it so that I give myself a reward. So I've been practicing meditating every morning for 15 minutes. I won't let myself eat breakfast until I have done it. It's a small way that I say, oh, my day doesn't start until I sit and I calm myself for 15 minutes. You notice that I'm not meditating for an hour yet. I want to make sure that I'm doing it every single day. That was my specific goal, that I would do every day for 100 days is the SMART goal that I set for myself. And so what I do is I make it so that I have to have, I don't give myself a reward until I have done the task. So let's see, the other way is to make things into a habit. So you can see that what I'm trying to do is to make meditation into a habit. So it takes us about 100 days to get to a habit. And so I might say every day I'm going to write 3 pages, or I'm going to walk for 10 minutes, or I'm going to call 3 customers. And if you do something for 100 days, it seems from a brain perspective to make it to where it becomes a habit. Another trick to make sure that you get things done and move yourself through to complete a boring or long or big task is to share it with someone else and tell them that you want them to make it painful for you if you don't complete it. So I have certain clients that over the years have said, I'm going to write you a check for an organization that I absolutely hate. If I don't lose those 10 pounds, I want you to send this check in to support the National Rifle Association or some organization that they would never, ever, ever want to give money to. So this is a trick as well. If there's something boring or you're having a hard time, make it painful not to complete it. Okay, we're going to go for about 5 more minutes because I want to make sure that you guys get time with one another as well. So the power of less, you heard me talk about that. That's focusing, really focusing in on a particular task, turning off your computer, putting a sign outside your cubicle to say, I can't talk to you for the next hour, turning off your phone. So notice that you might have to artificially create binders around yourself to get things done as well. All right, and let me just go. I have so much I wanted to share with you. This is what always happens to me. As I said, make your calendar your friend, and knowing that things don't ever really take the amount of time that you think they're going to take. So how can I put in extra time, or how can I have time in my calendar for surprises and time for you, and knowing your needs and knowing yourself. I'm better in the morning to do things I don't want to do. I'm better if I have a reward that I'm working towards. Notice, are you better with an electronic list or a paper list? And use your calendar to make sure there's time in there for you to meditate, to be outside, to have a good meal. We need you around for the long haul. So make your calendar a protector for you, and creating those sacred times, as I talked about earlier. I would recommend that you go through your calendar always and review it and see if it matches. Do you have time each day to do your most important tasks? Do you have time each week to get organized? Do you have time for you? And make it so that it always supports you. And looking for bright spots. Sometimes we say we're bad at time management. Look at where you're good at time management and use those times to support you. This can be key. So think about what would make you feel better, and that not doing it would make you feel bad. And that is a place that you can build off of. So for me, I am a habit person. So I know that if I meditate for 100 days, it's going to make me feel bad afterwards if I don't do it. So noticing where you work well. And this is from the work of Switch. The Heath brothers have really looked at brain science, what works to make us get things done. Okay, so I would say give yourself time, goals, actions, what you're committed to, and mapping out your calendar. And here's a list of some online tools to consider. Todoist is the one I use. There's Remember the Milk or Asana, and those are both also project management tools. Okay, and then Google Keep is the to-do list, and Apple Reminders. I use Google. I use both Google Calendar and iCal, and some people use Outlook. But a tool for your calendar and a tool for your to-do list is something I would recommend. But you can literally do both of these on paper. Just making those are your two supporters. Okay, I'm a little late. Nothing like losing the internet. Okay, there are, I think, 10 groups of 100 people, and we're hoping that we can get everybody together. This is the grand challenge of the Leading Well Network. You each have a group, so you've got a group number, and I want you to, what we're going to do now is go into your small groups. I want you to get to know these people. And again, I know many of you, almost all of you, fairly well, and I know how amazing you are. You need help. We all need help. And these are great people who can be of support to you, and sometimes in crazy, surprising ways. I'm just going to tell you a few examples. One of our members from Mexico is actually helping to develop a course, I believe in Kenya, and they hope to actually to go there for the and to have this LWN member go and teach a class. We had 2 members, one from Morocco and another one from Kenya, who connected and put on a webinar for 100 students in Morocco on solar-powered heating. Solar-powered cooking. So that's just some of the starts of things that are happening. So you will now go into your small groups, and I have sent these questions. I'll send these so you can see them. I sent these questions, on to your, I'm going to see if I can actually send these on group chat too. I want you to introduce yourself. And let's see here. Let's see if this works. I send things in group chat, but I don't know if anything comes to you. If I never get anything back when I'm doing this. So I want you to introduce yourself, your name, your country, your work, and a 2016 accomplishment you're proud of. I know some of those, and I want you to share those with your new friends. What is your top 2017 goal? Ask people how you can make it smarter. What is your top tip to staying organized? And what do you use? You know mine now. And share something that others might not know about you if you have time. I'm hoping that you guys can use this next 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what works for you guys, to get to know each other. and I'm going to send you off now. This now has been recorded, so you can always come back to it, and I will send you via email my slides so that you have that additional information. So I'm going to stop broadcasting. Moderators, please convene your groups and know that I am happy to join in if you send me the links. And in final, my vision is to continue to do this and to find different ways that I can support you. Even though we have crazy internet and multiple time zones, and it may feel kind of impossible for you to create a project between Uganda and Bangladesh and China. But you're all on this network, and I can imagine that there will be many ways that you can be of support to one another and to the greater world. So I send you all of my best and all of my affection, and have fun talking to each other. Mwah.